Donald Trump and Elon Musk, like we knew from day one, we talked about it, that they were going to fall out, right? The two greatest egos possibly on the planet, coming together in a bromance of love and mutual respect has catastrophically exploded. We knew it would, right? But it went quiet after a while. Do you remember the whole, oh, he's in the Epstein files, which I think we knew anyway. But and then it went quiet, and Elon Musk said, oh, I think I went too far. Well, since then, he's come back and he's saying this abomination of a bill, which, by the way, was passed in the Senate today by one vote. It was 50-50, and it was literally J.D. Vance that pushed his vote in there and got it over the line with this big abomination of a bill, or Trump call it his big beautiful bill. And Elon Musk has been very vocal about how awful this bill is for America and for Americans. So since then, Trump has said that he's going to look into deporting Elon Musk, or having DOGE, the Department of Government Ego Efficiency, looking into this, looking into him and possibly taking away all of his contracts that he gets, all these subsidies from government contracts. So it is becoming even nastier. I've got my popcorn. I'm watching this with interest. But I tell you somebody who will know exactly what's going on, and that is my next guest, Steve Siebold, who is an author, speaker on psychological performance training and knows Donald Trump. Steve, it is so wonderful to speak to you again. Thank you for joining me.
Good to see you, Patrick.
Now, everybody could see this coming, right? This was never going to last. Just how bad could this get?
This is King Kong and Godzilla. I think we all remember how that went, and didn't go too well. Like you said, the battle of the massive egos is about to take place, and I think it's going to get very nasty.
The one thing that really intrigues me is, you know Donald Trump, you know the man. Is he somebody who, while he was madly in love with Elon Musk, would he have told Musk where the bodies were buried? Is he that sort of, I mean, I know he's not really a friend to anybody, but would he have sat there and said, oh, I've done this and I've done that? Because Elon Musk must have a lot of dirt on Trump, if that's the case.
I don't think so. He's not the conversational type. Right. And frankly, Trump doesn't know where the bodies are buried. He's an ignoramus. I mean, he doesn't study, he doesn't read, plays everything. He's played everything his entire life off as inheritance and bullying people and suing companies and organizations and that kind of thing. So I don't know that he would have shared anything that Musk could really use on him, but obviously Musk Musk put him in the White House this time with his money and influence, and I think that's the only reason he kept him around.
But do you think that Musk must know something? Because he's already said, look, I could escalate this. I'm not going to for now. Would Trump be scared of him in any way, or is that sort of narcissistic behaviour just doesn't even allow that to penetrate him, that this guy could damage him?
Oh, I think it's definitely possible. I mean, he's got the money to find out. I mean, maybe the Jeffrey Epstein case, I don't know, I'm not sure about that, but there's some Russian involvement. I mean, a lot of us in the States here think that Trump has been connected to Russia for a long time, and Putin's got something on him. I mean, he sure acts that way if it's not the case. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Trump should be pretty worried about this, and Musk should be equally worried.
So they I mean, it seems to me that even if it's an act of self-harm, they would rather harm each other. For example, the whole idea that you could deport Elon Musk, I suppose that he could revoke his right to remain. But then if you deport him, how much of America is run on Elon's satellites, or how much, how intertwined is government with Elon Musk and with his technology? It seems very short-sighted that Trump would almost rather get rid of Elon just to win than to think it through to the logical conclusion that if you do that, this man, because of you, Donald Trump, has got an enormous amount of power over the American government.
Oh yeah, you just described Donald Trump in a nutshell. I mean, he'll do things just for optics, just for the way they look, and he really can't deport Elon Musk. Well, Musk has been a citizen of the U.S. since 2002, so that's 23 years. He can't deport him, and unless he finds some kind of loophole that I don't know about, I don't think he can actually deport him. And to your point, it's only going to hurt him. It's going to hurt the country. It's going to hurt him. There's so many things. The thing is, Trump just doesn't care. He's completely transactional and ego driven, and that really is what runs his life.
Nobody is saying to him, look, go easy on Musk, because he holds, he's got the off-on switch for American technology.
No, you'd think that would be the case, but you can't talk like that to Donald Trump. You just can't. You just have to praise him. That's the only way you can really get in on the inner circle, or even really have any kind of real connection with Trump. Is you have to praise him and tell how smart he is and how great he is. It sounds like you're talking about a 12-year-old, or maybe not. Maybe that's an insult to a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But that's actually how he is. That's how he is in person, and that's how he is in politics.
I mean, it was quite the extraordinary thing and made me sick to my stomach, I have to be completely honest with you, when Mark Rutte called him daddy. I mean, I still can't, I cannot, it makes me feel sick. This idea that everyone's so sycophantic to him, at what point does he lose that level of power over everyone? It's extraordinary.
It really is. You would think it would have happened by now,
Yeah.
and it hasn't. It's just they just keep sucking up to him and feeding his ego, because I really believe they're just terrified of him. The entire Republican Party here is terrified of this man. And to your point about politicians, you were saying earlier, they're all rich. Here, they're all rich people. I mean, almost all of them are multimillionaires. Some of them are billionaires. So they don't need the money, but I think they fear losing their power, because if Daddy, as you mentioned, goes after him, that's the end of it. It's absolutely pathetic, Petri. It's just, we're just sickened here in the States.
I mean, as you know, I watch all the time with complete fascination. I'm obsessed with what's going on over in the States. I'm obsessed and disgusted. I cannot believe that Kristi Noem and Trump and Cruz think it's funny to call a detention center Alligator Alcatraz. I find it, I don't have the emotional capacity, actually, to understand why that is entertaining to those people.
Yeah, millions of us here feel the same way. It's just sick. I mean, there just seems to be no low. It's just a new low all the time with these people. And Trump he seems to be emboldening these people, like Ted Cruz, who's one of the most unpopular, people in Washington. That is a guy that no one really likes. But it seems like he's made them worse. He's made the bad ones worse. And then the ones who are moderates, he's just made them sycophants. I mean, they're just sucking up to him. And it just keeps going lower and lower. And we're not even 6 months into this thing. No,
and it hasn't reached the bottom yet. Every time you think it has, there's another low. I've been watching a lot of ICE arrests or kidnaps as well, and seeing those from citizen journalists bravely filming what's been going on, and it again, I find it absolutely heartbreaking, and I just don't understand how Amnesty isn't involved. I don't understand how The Hague isn't involved. I'm finding it very difficult. It's almost like I'm seeing something that nobody else is seeing, and I'm the mad one.
Oh no, you're not the mad one. A couple hours ago, I was in our local gym here working out, and there were a bunch of Mexican kids in there, probably 20, 25 of them working out. They seemed to know each other. And a man came in a uniform. He was not an ICE agent. I looked, but he had some kind of military uniform on, and they literally ran from the gym to the locker room, 25 kids. Because everyone's terrified here that they're going to be deported, and it's just, I mean, they're literally pulling up in vans with masks on, like they did in Nazi Germany, and they're detaining these people, and they're sending them places we don't even know where they are, half of them, and it's just beginning.
And 13, as far as we know, 13 deaths in these detention camps. One of them Canadian. I thought we'd hear more from Canada on that, to be honest with you, but again, at what point is this enough? Because although the politicians seem to be fighting back, and even that vote today on the big, beautiful bill, it was 50-50 because 3 Republicans didn't go along with it. That would have been scary for them to do that. They needed 4 so that Vance's extra vote didn't amount to anything, but 3 did. But politically, nothing seems to be happening, or if it is happening, it's happening with honesty and truth, whereas the other side are behaving like the Gestapo. So, when do both sides match up at the energy, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're trying from the outside. I mean, we had a 10 million person march, a few weeks back.
It's amazing.
Biggest march in American history. We were out there for hours, and people all over the country were out there. I mean, people are absolutely just frightened, livid, frightened, all those things. But, going back to the big, beautiful bill, as Trump likes to call it, if it passes in the House, and it most likely will, $30 billion is allocated toward hiring more ICE agents to do these kidnappings, you might call them. And so there's all kinds of funding for this. It's really just in the beginning stages. And then the alligator Alcatraz, which you mentioned that they just built in Florida, that Trump was bragging about, that, if they escape, well, they get eaten by the alligators. That's fantastic for our president to say. And so this is the beginning, Petri, unfortunately.
I mean, I saw there were some images of inside that camp, and I showed them to my producer, and I said, what, if it looks like a concentration camp and it sounds like a concentration camp, that's what it is. I mean, these are horrible places, and people are dying in them, and they're overcrowded. And this place in the alligator Alcatraz is supposed to hold 5,000 people. Many of them will never see due process.
Oh, absolutely true. And it's going to cost us $450 million a year to have those 5,000 people in this concentration camp, as you rightly called it. $450 million a year, supposedly from the president, who's so fiscally responsible, and he wants to trim the debt, when this big, beautiful bill is going to increase it, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, by $3.3 trillion over the next 10 years. I mean, this is all just a big optics play by Trump. It's just disgusting.
And of course, we know that he promised several times he wasn't going to touch Medicare or Medicaid. Definitely wasn't going to happen. But it looks like now millions upon millions of Americans will lose their health care cover.
Yeah, they're saying 12 to 15 million people. And, Medicaid in this country, for people that don't know overseas, that's when you have $2,000 or less of assets, which means your clothes, anything you own can't add up to more than $2,000. That's how you qualify for Medicaid. And I mean, that it's almost impossible to do that. Your clothes are worth that much. I mean, if you just your shoes and your, just things, your glasses. And I mean, so these are people that have nothing. And he has no problem taking away people that have nothing. This is how they survive. Plus, he's cutting SNAP benefits, which is basically food stamps here. And for children, for adults, for disabled people, I mean, he just doesn't care. He has no empathy.
But how is he getting this past MAGA? How are they in the red states, some of the poorest in America, right? They're the ones that have the most social aid, is the red states that voted for Donald Trump. How are they not going to feel this?
Oh, they're going to feel it. There's no other way around it. Just like they're feeling with all these immigrants being deported. The farms can't operate. The restaurants can't find enough people to work. The roofers can't find people to climb up on roofs. The people that cut down trees. I mean, these are all immigrants working for barely enough money to survive, and Americans are not going to take those jobs. They're too spoiled, and they can't afford to take them as well. And you're right, though. You think they would stand up, but MAGA just is terrified of this man. They worship him on one side, and on the other side, they're terrified of him.
But they will find out.
They will find out eventually. There's no question. You're right. The red states are the poorest, and it's going to hurt the red states the most. What does Donald? It's like watching a bad movie.
Yeah, it really is, with no end at the moment. What is next for Donald Trump? I mean, he's just been handed more power by the courts. That there can't be any sort of blanket denial of one of his executive orders. Now it has to be done by individual state and possibly individual person. Where does he go next?
I think this whole thing goes toward Christian nationalism. You know, the far right in this country wants to make this a Christian national organ, you know, basically running on what the Bible says. And that's going to be our law. I mean, that's what they've wanted for many years. I think they're going to go after gay marriage. You know, they've already struck down Roe v. Wade, the right to an abortion, which we had for 50 years, and people have died since then. I mean, obviously, it's, you know, they'll cut the food stamps for poor kids, but they won't allow abortion. So let's bring more kids into the country, have them come in, but let's not feed them. Let's let them starve to death. I mean, it's just shameful.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gilead. It's Gilead. That's what I see when I look at America. I really do. Steve, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you. I hope we get to do it again soon. And just know that not everybody this side of the pond has bought into MAGA, okay? we're all quite...
We appreciate you, Petra. We appreciate your support anywhere we can get it these days.
You've definitely got mine. Steve Siebold there, author and speaker on psychological performance training. Right, quick break, back in a sec.